Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Gamemax Mini Kallis PC case. This particular case is able to withstand a micro ATX board. It's got enough room for 4 hard drives, 320mm fans plus a 240mm radiator if you're that way inclined, and generally a bit less flashy than the last one we looked at, but I managed to pick it up for a very good deal from box.co.uk, so I thought it's worth taking a look at. Anyway, let's get it out of the box and see what it's like. Okay, so first impressions out of the box. It's really neat looking, but it is really small. I mean, I suppose I should have really known by the name, called a Mini Kallis, but yeah, it is pretty damn small. I do like it though, to be fair. I like how the front is left simple and you've got the USB ports on the side here. The nice mesh fan there will look good with some fans behind it. You can see on the top there, a couple of spaces for some more fans. And at the back, yeah, just the usual gaps and whatnot. But yeah, it is petite, but I do like the look of it. Anyway, let's crack off the side and see what's going on in there. Now I've got the side off, just thought I'll give you a quick comparison. We've got the X58 build there, and I've got the side off. It does feel particularly small, so if we put them next to each other, you can see this one is really quite small in comparison. I like it though, to be honest. For the build I've got planned for it today, it's going to be absolutely ideal to house it all in. Looking at the inside, what have we got? The usual front connections, as you'd expect. A nice USB 3. What have we got in here? A bit difficult to tell. I'll just unravel this and we can have a look inside what comes with the accessories. One thing I'd like to cover while I'm here is the front airflow, as this was a question asked in my last case review. And this one is literally just a mesh on the front here which goes directly into the case. So yeah, it couldn't be any easier to get air into there if that's something which you're concerned with. But yeah, overall first impressions, I like it. It's neat, it's small, but enough of this. Let's get on with building something in there and seeing what it's like to actually work with. Before we go any further, I've just whipped off the other side and thought you may want to take a look with me. What we've got here is the space for 2 3.5-inch drives with the caddies included. Although personally I found you can slot some other drives underneath sometimes. We've also got some inbuilt cable management zip ties here, Velcro ties here, which is quite handy. Looking for where the 2.5-inch drives go. Here we are. I can see any 2.5-inch drives would be mounted here and here. So yeah, there's definitely a bit of space in there for expansion. If you're building something with loads of hard drives in, this obviously wouldn't be suitable. You'd look for something a bit more beefier with a bit more space. But for what I'm looking to build in there today, it's ideal. And hopefully it should all go together really well. But let's crack on. Okay, we've got the motherboard in, as you can see, looking good. And just one thing I thought I'd highlight while in there is the initial PCI slot cover is not one of the ones that you can unscrew or anything. It's like this cool little plastic one that you can unclip, which is really minor, I suppose, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, something else, I don't know if you can see these too well here, but that's where you install the VGA card holder. So if you're suffering from any kind of sag from your graphics card, you can actually fix this bracket onto the bottom here, and it will essentially prop up the back end of your card We're not going to be needing that today, but it's just a nice little addition which all kind of goes to make this a pretty decent little case. It's all coming together pretty well. We've got the power supply in, as you can see, motherboard and so on. Plenty of room for the power supply in there. A little bit of room for spare cables, which I'm hoping to make use of later. So now it's time to try and get the cables all in and whatnot and see how this can turn out. But overall so far, very, very smooth build, to be fair. Not really much to report other than it's going together very well. Let's hope it continues. Plan your builds ahead, or at least your cable management, as I've had a bit of realisation while I was putting these things in here that I could do things a lot better. So I've fed the cables around the back, over the top and whatnot, so everything at least now can potentially be a lot neater from the front. Although it might not look the case at this particular stage, I can now see how this is going to look, and it's, yeah, it should be pretty slick. And the PC case is giving me more than enough options of routes for my cables and loads of places where I can secure them down, so very impressive so far. And I do like the small size because it does mean everything is quite compact and easy to work with, so yeah, very good, very, very good indeed. So far so good, as you can see. Got everything all wired in, looking quite tidy, or at least as tidy as can be. For fans and illumination, I'm just using a couple of fairly basic 120mm blue fans. Nothing too fancy. I do have one of the RGB kits that I normally use to hand if I do change my mind, but for now I want to see how these go, just to see how they look in a build like this. And as far as I'm aware, this also lights up blue at the front here, so it should look quite good all in all. But yeah, let's carry on and hope this really smooth build continues and this case carries on doing its job very nicely. There we are, guys. There is the case in all its glory. I think it's absolutely brilliant looking, especially for the size. I do like the fact it's so compact and whatnot. I do have a particular problem with mine, which may explain why it was so cheap, although I will be getting it sent back. Look at that horrific crack. Obviously I didn't peel off the plastic until it was all ready, and yeah, that's what I've been greeted with, so that's a bit of a pain. But overall, very, very impressive little case. If you're looking for something a bit more compact, yeah, I'd easily recommend this one to anyone. Very easy to build with, all the features you'd need, the airflow going all the way through it, with all the mesh everywhere is just absolutely spot on. Really, really, really pleased with it. So, although this particular one is a bit of a pain because of the cracked window, I think overlook that fact. It's an absolute steal. I think you can pick these up for around about £30. Very, very, very good value for money if you're looking for something with this particular look. I know a lot of the times now it's best to have the, or it's preferred to have the entire panel clear, but for what I was aiming to do with this build, really, really happy with it. I'd recommend it to anyone if you're considering this case, definitely. Anyway, that's enough of this particular case review. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please consider subscribing and dropping a like on it. If you've got this particular case and you've had experience with it, then do leave a comment. I'd love to know what your time has been like with it. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.